What's up? This is the Game Forums Extended Forum, episode 23. I'm Zach.
And I'm Lindsay.
And today we're going to be talking about some arcade one-up cabinets, the Mafia Definitive Edition story trailer, Call of Duty, something's up with WB Games Studios, some more trailers, more Destiny, and more For Honor. But first, what have you been playing?
I went back and started playing some more Call of Duty World War II since it's the free game of the month this month. The graphics are actually a lot better than I remember it being.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember it being pretty okay, but I mean it still holds up to some of the newer ones, especially with their facial animations and stuff.
Huh.
It looks pretty good. Um, Jumped back into some multiplayer matches of that. Played through a little bit more of the campaign to kind of refresh my memory. Did a couple rounds of zombies. Probably gonna throw a review up on that one sometime here soon. I really enjoyed World War II. It was probably one of the most balanced Call of Duties in my opinion. I just want to kind of go back and refresh myself with this game. I really enjoyed playing it. It was probably one of my favorite Call of Duties of recent memory. It's definitely not my all time favorite, but I did enjoy it. Especially, it really introduced the seasonal events where they would add in content seasonally that you could unlock, and if
Yeah.
you didn't play for that event, then you just couldn't get it. And I do kind of like, rewarding the people who stick with playing a game versus people who just jump in, 6 months after or a year after. But it had a lot to offer, and like I said, I thought it was pretty fun. Um, Other than that, I went back and played some more cross out to try and start leveling up through the battle pass. Um, think I'm almost halfway through the battle pass.
God.
So you level up way faster than the ranking system. There's 70 or 75 levels, and I think I'm almost at 30. But I mean, really, just doing the weekly challenges gets you one and a half ranks, and then doing a daily challenge. If you do all the daily challenges, it gets you probably one rank. So pretty much sticking to the stuff, you level up pretty fast as long as you play the game. So I'm not nearly as worried about not getting all the content from it.
God, that's cool. All right, so I finished the Outer Worlds, and I was closer than I thought I was last time we talked. I still feel about the same with the game. It's kind of lukewarm. Um, I think that if I was more invested in the story, I would care a lot more. I would want to do another playthrough because the choices that you do make in the late game are pretty drastic. And going through the trophy list, there's actually a whole lot that I missed. And it wasn't like, oh, I just skipped the content. Like, no, there was a decision you make, in hour 3 that affects hour 18. And I thought that was pretty cool. The ending was good. Like, for as contained as the story is, even though it's kind of copying something that's already been done before, it was pretty good. It was I don't know how to put it. It wasn't better than any Fallout, but it was nice being able to play a Fallout style game in under. Honestly, I think I beat it in 21 hours, which is kind of nice. Um, it was a pretty solid story. I finished that, I think, Sunday night, and so then I was going through my game list, kind of backlog, and I was like, I wonder if I could, knock something else out. I want to play something short, and I had Concrete Genie. Are you familiar with this game at all?
No, I haven't heard of this one. What is this one about?
So you play as you play as a kid in this type of I don't know, sea town. It's not like on the sea. It looks like a port town. Just like a rundown city that there's a lighthouse. There's some hydroelectric plant. It's just kind of run down, and you have a paintbrush, and you create these genies on walls and stuff, and they kind of come to life. And you're being bullied by a bunch of kids, and it's a really cool story. It's also been done before, and I don't know, Stand By Me and the Goonies. It's pretty much just kind of like that style of story. It is a PlayStation exclusive. It's made by Pixel Opus. It was a second party exclusive. I think they've made a game before. I don't know. I didn't look into that. But so I ended up playing that, and I ended up beating it. Yeah, you can run through the story in like 5 to 6 hours. I'm close to platinuming it or getting the platinum, so I'm gonna finish that up. I think you can get the platinum in less than 8 hours, and it's on sale right now for like $12 or $13. Absolutely worth it. Of all the games that I've played this year, this might be my favorite uh, in terms of like story and gameplay. It's definitely up there with like some of the best games that I've played, especially for it being like so short. I was not expecting like a really condensed story, and graphically, it reminds me of like a DreamWorks movie or a Pixar movie. I was not expecting it to be so like just creative. It's very creative, and the controls are what really impressed me because you design these genies, which are use the paintbrush, but you use the controller, like the movement of the controller to paint them, and then you create them, and then you hold down square, and then they come to life, and then they're like, they don't speak, but they have like these thought bubbles that pop up of what they want, and then you can paint what they want, make them happy, and then they can give you powers or they can help you out. And it's really cool. It's really
That
a
sounds
story.
very different. I don't remember
Yeah,
seeing that one.
it's 'cause I had seen the trailer and it was like, oh, okay, this looks fine, and um, so I saw it was on sale and I'm like, well, I know this is short, and I know that it's a pretty decent platinum. You can run through it, and it's not too difficult. And that's kind of what I was wanting to play, and like the story grabbed me in a way that I wasn't expecting, and this story gets pretty dark. Uh, it deals with bullying, which is never a light subject, but it does I guess it's kind of tropey. The paintbrush is kind of like the main character of the game, and so the bullies, they pick on the kid. They'll like grab the paintbrush, and then the kid will grab the paintbrush too, and then it kind of goes into an animated cutscene showing some traumatic event that happened to the bully that made them be the way that they are. So it's not really like glorifying, to be a bully or sympathizing with bullies. It is like, it's telling the story of like, well, bullies are bullies because something happened to them, and it is about the friendship that comes, the bond that they make from helping each other and all this kind of stuff. And it was really unexpected. Um, and then there's like, you can there's areas where you can paint to kind of light up the city to bring back the color, even though you make it more colorful, and you kind of have like complete control over what you want to paint, and you can create scenes where the genies will actually like take part in. So I like painted a field of grass with some trees, and then I put apples on those trees, and then I painted a fireplace. And then the genies came, and one of the genies went up to the tree and was picking the apples and eating it. Another one came and sat down by the fire, and then another genie walked up, and then the genie that was by the apples grabbed an apple and then threw it at the other genie, and he grabbed it and he started eating it. It was really impressive. I was not expecting any of that. But yeah, like like I was saying, all the games that I played this year, this one is definitely like my favorite. It won't be game of the year for me, this year at all because of what's coming out later. But I, for $12, I don't think you could do any more worse or any better, honestly. I would, if anyone's listening and they haven't played it and it looks interesting to them or sounds interesting, definitely check it out because it's worth it. The story is awesome, gameplay is fun. You can climb up buildings and like uh, you unlock. I won't spoil it, but you unlock some really awesome abilities later in the game that I was not expecting at all. It kind of like changes the game completely, and it's definitely worth a shot. It's cheap right now too. It's on sale at least till the end of June.
That's pretty cool. Well, I guess getting into our news for this week, we actually had a lot happen. I wasn't expecting as
Uh-huh.
many things to happen with Sony's big event kind of taking center stage in the spotlight.
Yeah.
To start off, anyone, if they've ever seen these, they have them in Walmart and some other stores. The arcade one-up cabinets. They just announced like a bunch of new cabinets coming out. One of my old roommates had one of these. They're pretty cool. They're a lot of fun. Kind of cool retro games put in like smaller scale arcade cabinets that you can get either for kids or put up on a pedestal and just kind of have as a cool piece in like your game room kind of deal.
Yeah.
Um, they started putting out some new ones. A couple of them they're putting out now is the Pac-Man game. They have a Big Buck Hunter game where it actually has like light guns, like shotguns, like in the arcades you see. You can like shoot at the screen and stuff. So that's pretty cool. X Men versus Street Fighter. They have a Marvel pinball game. Looks pretty cool. And one I think is really cool looking is a Star Wars arcade cabinet. Where you actually get to sit down and like pilot the X-wing or Tie Fighter from a bench, like mounted to the arcade cabinet.
Huh.
So these are pretty cool. I like them a lot. I don't have any personally, but I have gotten to play with some of these. They're just a really cool like retro touch, especially if you have like a gaming room or something. Just a lot of fun to throw one of these in there.
Are these the full size cabinets or like the smaller ones?
They're not full size. I want to say they're like either half scale or 3/4 scale. Like they're not 100% the same size. They're like shrunk down a little bit, so they don't take up quite as much space. But they're also not like a couple $1,000s as well.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. And are these going to be exclusive at Walmart or is it like other places? Do you know?
I'm not sure if other places carry these or not. I know I've seen them in Walmart a good bit.
Yeah, me too.
I'm thinking that's probably like their primary retailer. They could be in other stores. I'm not sure, but this is typically where I've seen them at. And like I said, they're just fun. You're not going to be seeing any like PlayStation 1, 2, 3, or 4 games on these. These are all like retro arcade cabinets. So like stuff from like the 70s and 80s mainly, but I would love to see maybe some newer stuff from like the 90s. Like, back when I was a little kid, like there was a pizza place that had like the Area 51 arcade cabinet. Like, if they made a smaller one of those, I might get that one.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool actually. So that is a cool idea. Bringing back all these cabinets and stuff and the unique things that they can do with it. Um, but moving on to our next story. So the Mafia Definitive Edition got a story trailer. So it didn't show any gameplay sections. It was just CGI. It looked awesome. It looked exactly what I would want it to look like. But then something weird happened. So we knew that the trailer was going to come today. Well, it was going to come on the 13th. And then on the 15th, we were going to see gameplay. That gameplay date has been removed, so they are not showing gameplay anymore. This game comes out, of course, in 2 months. That is a bit of a worry sign for me right now, especially coming off of the remaster for Mafia 2. So I don't know what to think of that because they definitely removed the gameplay trailer or the premiere date for it. It's gone. It's been pulled completely. So now I'm that can't be a good sign.
Well, do you think that they've pulled it simply because PlayStation pushed back their event and it's kind of made everyone push back their stuff? And they just want to get out there at a time where everyone can see it and not get so lost in the crowd with all these other big titles putting out all these things.
Well, it was going to be shown at one of IGN's days of gaming summer festival event things that happen. Like they started this week, and then they do more next week. And so there's a list of games that are going to be shown. They have like here's all the trailers, here's all the gameplay premieres, here's all the previews, and under gameplay premieres, it was there was like I don't know a good chunk. But then Mafia Definitive Edition was there, but now it's been up. That list has been updated, and Mafia has been removed, and that just seems kind of odd because Mafia is not a big game, but it's also not a small game. So I feel like it would be okay, especially doing it in a crowd. So it could totally be like, oh, we're gonna wait and kind of show it to where we could get more attention. But if it's going the opposite way of like, oh man, those screenshots weren't really screenshots from in game, then they could be like, we need to try to hold off as long as we can, especially with all this next gen talk that's happening. But I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what the final outcome of that ends up being.
Yeah, I'm still gonna get it though.
um, Also, recently, finally, after about a week of delays, Call of Duty announced their Season 4. A lot of new content come out with the Battle Pass. You can now have a in-game multiplayer character playable as Captain Price. So he's like the big character you can get this time around. I was looking through the Battle Pass content. Got some more vehicle skins, couple new weapons. The highlight, I forget what they call it in Call of Duty, but it is the Chris Vector. It's a 9mm or 45 caliber submachine gun. I've always had a lot of fun with that gun in multiple Call of Duties, so I'm excited to see it come into this game. I think the other one was the Galil, um, Israeli variant on a AK-47.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see both those guns come into the game. And the really big announcement with Season 4 is a new mode for Warzone. So instead of just the squads, now they're doing a full-on 50 versus 50 Warzone fight. So this sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people have really wanted to see this mode come in. I'll probably jump back in and play some of this new Warzone mode. I mean, this sounds like a lot of fun. You don't know where everyone's going to end up, dropping. I don't know if they're going to have spawn points on this. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but you could find yourself like completely surrounded by like 20 enemies if you're not careful, or you could just completely engulf the enemies with like friendlies. So this is going to be real fun. I'm really excited to check this one out.
Yeah. I think Fortnite did this, and I think they like on the map when you see the bus or whatever its trajectory to where you want to jump. I think it was. I think there might have been two buses going, and then you kind of jump on your side, so it is one side versus the other. That would be more fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, that would make it a little bit more balanced, and so you're not just dropping in the middle of a firefight and like immediately die without picking up a gun or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So WB Game Studios are apparently up for sale, and that consists of game studios like Rocksteady, NetherRealm, and Monolith, and I believe Avalanche. This isn't good, or it potentially can be really bad.
Yeah,
It
this
could
is a
also
little
be fine.
scary.
Yeah. I would hate to be these developers right now. I mean, you can't imagine like we're working on a game that hasn't been announced yet, but we don't know if we're going to release it because we don't know if we're going to get bought. But we can't say anything because we don't have this game announced yet. So there's nothing we can really do. Like they're literally stuck in limbo.
I
This,
really like this scares me the fact that EA could buy WB Games and
yeah.
be like, you know what, the Arkham games, no one likes single player games anymore. Let's make it a multiplayer shooter game. Just give Batman guns. It's
But
fine.
you know what? Respawn would do wonders with Batman.
Oh
I
yeah, I mean, if
I
they would
think
leave them alone, that would be amazing. But
yeah.
EA's track record, they've done great with only the last couple games from Respawn. The rest of their games have been like notorious. So I don't trust them. Like they're working toward the right direction, but I feel like it's almost an accident. So
Yeah, I don't know. Like, can you imagine if EA like reworks their deal with not just Star Wars but with Disney, and to where Disney is like, yeah, we're gonna work with EA because not because I mean I don't know. It's just I guess this is just a hypothetical, but like if they have Respawn like say make another Star Wars game, or even maybe like make a like a I don't know, a Thor game, that deals with, something along that lines. And then if they get Rocksteady, and then they can have DC, they could have like DC games, they can have some Marvel games. That would be kind of cool. It would fit in line with the fact that EA wants everything.
I also wonder though if they ended up buying WB games, that might give them better leverage. We could see like a crossover, like a DC versus Marvel game, and I don't think that's ever happened before.
Well, there's been fighting games that have done that, I think, but no,
They've had
nothing.
like Marvel versus Capcom, but I don't think they've ever had like a straight up Marvel versus DC.
I can't remember. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. There might have been, or it might not have been. I'm not. I have no clue, honestly. But that would be really cool to do something along the lines, and like NetherRealm is the one that I'm worried about because I don't know where they would go, but I'm assuming that whoever buys them will keep the Mortal Kombat franchise because it. You know what? I don't. Yeah, because everything would have to be licensed because all of these are owned by WB, and WB isn't going under as a whole. It's just they're selling their gaming division, which is not
Huh.
good.
No, like I said, this could have some good implications in it, but I'm a little scared of this. Like, there's a big chance that some of these really great developers could get snatched up by like terrible producers.
Yeah, and I should. I would like to pull up the whole list of WB Game Studios just to see exactly who they got, because it may not be a whole lot. There's like Bethesda could buy a studio. I think I don't know. I think Monolith that made the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor games would do well with like 2K. Give them an open world game in the Lord of the Rings franchise, or even like not even Lord of the Rings, but I don't know. This is the last time this has happened was with THQ, and that brought down studios that made Saints Row, the studios that made Red Faction. All those were up in limbo. Luckily, most of those were saved, and Nordic Games actually like bought everything and rebranded as THQ Nordic, and now I think last we've heard from THQ Nordic was that they have over 100 games in development with around 60 that have been unannounced.
Oh wow!
So yeah, they're holding a whole lot, and I think they hold franchises like the what was it Saints Row, Red Faction, the Time Splitters franchise. They're the ones responsible for re-releasing the Kingdoms of Amalur game that's being published by THQ Nordic. Uh, so I mean, there's hope. The Destroy All Humans remake that's coming out in July, I think. That's being published by THQ Nordic. So
Okay,
there is
well,
hope.
also in some new games coming out news. These are definitely some smaller titles. I feel like have been overshadowed a bit by the
Yeah.
PlayStation event. But Castle Storm 2, I absolutely loved the first Castle Storm game. It was a strategy, what was it, tower attack and defense game. So essentially, you got to build a castle, and each room let you spawn a unit. And if that room was destroyed, you could no longer spawn that unit. Other rooms could also increase the damage or defense of other units. So essentially, the way you built your castle kind of depended on what type of play style and what type of units you wanted to have. Um, then you would essentially use those to send the units out to attack the enemy castle, and you'd also have like a catapult and what was it like a ballista to try and shoot some stuff over at the enemy castle, or you could build up your mana enough and spawn in as a hero character if your regular units started kind of getting overwhelmed. And pretty much you fought to the first person to destroy the enemy castle won. It had a little bit of a story mode in it. It was kind of more like tacked on. The overall core mechanics of the game was a lot of fun. This one, it looks like it's going to be adding more layers of strategy. Like in the trailer, you see there's like tiles set up with different kingdoms and stuff. So it looks like you're going to be expanding and conquering territories to add kind of another layer of depth into the strategy game.
Yeah. So this caught my attention because I really enjoyed the first Castle Storm. I played it on the PS3. I did have it on the Vita and PS4. It was a really wonderful game. That game came out a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of an older game. I remember playing it a couple years ago. But I mean, I just had a blast with it. I'm really happy to see them getting a sequel.
Yeah, this is it's good that they're like, oh yeah, we're making a sequel to a game that made it and it was pretty good. They could have totally like gone to something else. So this is very heartwarming, I guess, that we're getting a sequel and it comes out so soon. What, July?
Yeah, I think it comes out in the middle of July, if I remember correctly from the trailer. But I will definitely be picking this one up. We might do a first impression on this game since we both enjoyed it to kind of compare it to the first one.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a good idea.
Because this one I feel like is going to get overshadowed by a lot of the other bigger games coming out, and it's just one. If you love strategy games, I highly recommend picking it up. And
Oh
I'm
yeah,
very excited to see what the second one looks like. And then also smaller games that are probably going to get overshadowed. News. Space Crew is one you brought to my attention, Zach. I haven't even
yeah,
seen the trailer for this yet. It's a sequel to a game I played, I guess, about a year ago called Bomber Crew. And so in this game, you get a group of people and you outfit them with different gear and equipment, and then you get to build a bomber, like a World War II style bomber, and go out and run missions, either reconnaissance missions, taking photos, or bombing missions, trying to bomb bases or ships in the area. And you're constantly having to fight off like enemy aircraft, anti aircraft guns. Um, and each person has like a role, and you are essentially like a manager of this whole thing. So if the engine catches on fire, you got to tell the engineer to go out there and fix that. Or if the hydraulics are going out, you got to say, wait on the engine, we can still fly, but fix this, otherwise my guns won't work. And then you got to tell your people, oh my goodness, you're about to die. You need to go to the medic. Oh no, you're out of ammo. You need to go reload. Oh, I need to readjust where the pilot's steering. So you're trying to manage like what everyone is doing in the middle of all this chaos. And a lot of your people will die. And one thing that was kind of annoying about it is if your crew dies, like even if you have them leveled up to where they get like different abilities, they're like permanently gone. So now you have to get a rookie and train them up all over again. And if your plane crashes, like you get money from doing missions, and that's how you upgrade your plane. You can give it more armor, better weapons, and better defenses. But if it crashes, like if your pilot dies and no one else can steer the plane or everything's going wrong on a mission, it's pretty much like restarting the game, but a couple missions in, so you have harder enemies. So I don't like as much. That kind of annoys me. But the core concept of the game was a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to see how they expand on this in Space Crew. It looks very similar. The characters and the graphics of the game look pretty much identical, except now it looks like you're going to be building like starfighters and cruisers and stuff like that, and
yeah,
then continuing to manage everyone back and forth between probably regenerating the shield generator and fixing the impulse drive or whatever they do with it. I will definitely be picking this one up as well. It definitely, I had a lot of fun with the first one, and the second one looks very similar to it.
nice. So before everything started coming out, getting announced in the week, Destiny did a little premiere of their new season, which is out now, called Season of the Arrivals. They also showcase what is coming out this fall, which is called Beyond Light. And that would have been Destiny 3 if they were still with Activision. They pretty much had come out and said, like, yeah, if they were with Activision, this would be Destiny 3. But because they're indie now, they retain the rights to the game. They want to do it their way, and their way is to keep it Destiny 2. They don't want to go to Destiny 3. They don't want to add another number to it. They just want to keep it Destiny 2. And I think they're also introducing some legacy content in this thing. It's some vault to where they're going to add in stuff that's been reworked, kind of remastered content from Destiny 1 that you can play, which is really cool. It's a cool idea. And the content that's coming in September 22nd, I believe, is the date for this year. It looks pretty cool. It's very story focused. It's continuing how the Shadowkeep DLC kind of dropped off, which is cool. But then they also showed the Witch King. The Witch Queen, which is coming out in 2021, which is like, oh, okay, cool. But then they showed Lightfall, which is coming out in 2022. And so they have a 3-year plan for this game. Well, I guess a 2-year plan. Well, no, 3 years. And so that's kind of cool that they were like, oh yeah, here you go. For the next 3 years, we're going to offer content. And I actually did pick up Destiny 2 again when they announced the Season of the Arrivals. I was like, oh, you know what? I like Destiny a lot. Why not hop in, see what's up? And I bought the Battle Pass, which was like $10, I think, in terms of like the silver. And just like going through all the story stuff, and I'm like, man, this game is actually really good. They've made a lot of changes. The Shadowkeep area, which is the moon, I actually completely forgot that I never even like started it. So it's a whole new area to go explore. All the content they're adding, the Battle Pass with all of its rewards is pretty nice. And then leading up to, I'm hoping I'm going to continue playing it leading up to Beyond Light and see how that goes, and if I can grab onto the story, because that is one thing that really sucks about games as a service is if they have a story, you're left to your own devices when it comes to where you're at, because there's not a very good like recap on what's happened so far, other than when you actually buy the new season, which is a little unfortunate. So for people that are joining it for free, I don't think they actually get that recap. But I don't know. I guess I should look into that. But
Yeah, that's a very good point, though, especially not just for Destiny, but other games like it. Some kind of quick way or shortened video of how to get people up to speed on things to really figure out why they should care about certain characters and where other characters went and who the enemy is supposed to be. Destiny is a game I've played on and off since Destiny 1. I've had a lot of fun with Destiny. I've had a lot of fun doing some of the raids with some friends. It's a game I played a lot with my wife. We both like playing that game, and it just gives you such a high level of customization to really make your Guardian like unique to like how your play style is and what you want them to look like.
Yeah, and with I think it is this fall's expansion, they're adding another like power to where they had, I think, solar, void, and I can't remember the third, but they're adding a stasis, which is going to be like a dark power. So from what I can gather of the story, the Traveler, which is the big circle above the city thing, that's like the light. That's what gives them the light. But now through the Shadowkeep DLC, another shape has shown up, and it's kind of like a trapezoid looking thing, more of a triangle, which is kind of funny. I'm like, okay, so there's a circle and a triangle that are fighting each other, and the triangle.
When do you think the square and the X will join in?
I'm gonna assume with the Witch Queen and Lightfall, they're gonna be introduced, and then you're gonna find out that like that's Sony's plan all along, and they bought Bungie, and there's like, oh yeah, the sacred symbols. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. But so yeah, there is a trapezoid type looking shape, and it is the dark. And so the coolest thing they said is like, up until now it's been about the light, bringing back the light, but now it's going to be about the dark. And so the story is taking a darker turn, obviously, but then the powers, the stasis power, are very dark focused. They're a little more brutal and a little more aggressive, and so it is kind of going into the bad side or the dark side of the Destiny story. And there's some connotations of what's going to happen, within the Shadowkeep DLC and what they showed for the DLC that's coming out later this year. So it looks cool. It looks interesting. It's nice to know that they have a plan, and it seems like they're going to execute it, which is always good for a games as a service game.
No, I really hope, though, that they introduce a new enemy faction. Like, that was one thing I think Destiny's been sorely lacking over the last couple expansions, because you're still kind of fighting the same enemy types. You've been fighting the same enemy types for like a couple years now. Like, I want some fresh, new alien style something. Just give us something we haven't seen before, not just, oh, this is a dark Vex. They're like the regular Vex, but now they're black. I'm like, I don't care. Like, give me something that's not one of the other main groups we've been fighting this whole time.
Well, to be fair, Bungie did give us 5 Halos with just 2 different types of enemies: the Flood and the Covenant, and they were in Halo 1, 2, and 3, ODST, and Reach, and they never changed. So this could be Bungie's forte. They just like, hey, like here, look, you know what? This is what you're getting. You want new enemies? Well, here's a different, coat of skin, but it's fundamentally they're still the same enemies. They kind of did the same thing with Halo, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, that's like the one thing that would really kind of draw me back in. I definitely like the difference in like some of the boss fights, and they always come up with really cool new weapons and stuff. It just, even though it's new environments, it still kind of feels stale because it's like, oh, well, I'm like fighting these guys again. I'm fighting these guys again. I'm like, give me some new takes on some new enemies. If this ancient evil wakes up and it's been like, give me something that's like fast lizard like xenomorph creatures or something. Something totally different.
Yeah,
You get in there and you're like, oh my goodness, they're everywhere. Just something crazy.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what
That
I
would be
really
nice.
want.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree.
So, continuing on with new content, For Honor has just announced their Year 4 Season 2 Battle Pass. This is the game that just keeps giving. Like, Ubisoft has really poured a lot of time and love into this game. I didn't really get into the last Battle Pass as much. A lot of the content really didn't grab me, but they're adding in a lot of new content in this one, and they're continuing the story. The last season was more about peace and all the factions coming together and having like, you know, tournaments and pretty much just getting along for a little bit. This one is titled Tyranny, and looks like there's going to be a whole new war starting up. A lot more violence between the factions, and they got some really cool looking weapons in this. So I definitely think I'll end up jumping back into For Honor and playing a bit of this battle pass to unlock some of the stuff for some of the characters I continuously play as. So I'm definitely excited to see what they continue to do with For Honor, and especially with like the graphical updates they've done several times now. For Honor, for being a game as old as it is, considering they keep going in and upgrading the graphics, it still looks pretty good too.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty cool. I don't. I've kept trying to get into For Honor, but I don't know why. I think it might be the combat style. It keeps losing me. But it is really awesome that they're continuing to support this game with new content. That's always a good thing.
Well, tell us about anything we've missed in the comments down below. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.